I just got back from a work week in Los Angeles. I flew out there to host a panel with some creators. It was really, really fun. And I just had kind of a full circle moment after the event. It was like 9 p.m. I was like, where can I get a mocktail and a little vegan snack? So I headed out to West Hollywood to Crossroads Kitchen, which was the first place that I ever hosted an influencer content creator event ever back in 2016. I hosted this event for my client at the time, this startup in the influencer marketing space. They were called Octoly. And we did what was called an Octoly beauty brunch. So we invited all of our beauty influencers to this brunch. I planned it alongside my colleague, my freelance colleague at the time, and hosted this event. And it was so fun. And it just reminded me of like that was the first time I'd ever been to LA. And the wild thing about that first event was I still had a full-time job. That was just my side hustle. And I was flying across the country to do these projects. And it just kind of got me thinking about you all, because I know so many of you are in the same position where you maybe have a full-time job and you are looking to start your business and really make the work that you're doing count, and trying to fit all of those different projects into this small amount of time that we have. So I wanted to share some of my best tips for side hustling and getting your business off the ground and really making it work when you actually still have a full-time job like I did. Today's video is brought to you by Taskverse. Taskverse is a platform where they connect their global community of freelancers to a variety of paid tasks to help power the world's most disruptive companies. Cool thing is, you don't need any special skills to join. You can simply sign up, complete your profile, and then accessing tasks from there is really easy. When their client requirements match the info in your profile, tasks will become available on the platform and you'll get notified by them. You can sign up by navigating to the sign up page and creating an account. I will leave a link down in the description below. The reason that I wanted to bring up tasks, and I thought that this was a perfect fit to introduce to you, is because my first tip for side hustling is to start with a small task first. And I know this sometimes seems counterintuitive. It definitely did to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I just need that one big, huge client so that I can quit my job and focus on my business full time. But the thing is, there's actually so much to be learned from those small tasks, and just adjusting to having to have that self-discipline, that self-motivation, having to like set up your home office, the right way to accommodate remote work, all of these little things that we don't think about. And I think if I would have gotten, back in 2015 or 2014 or even 2016 when I was hosting that event, if I would have been offered, a $10,000 a month contract, I honestly don't know that I would have been ready for it. So start with something small, like signing up for a website like Taskverse and just completing a few tasks so that you can learn the ropes. You can start to become, responsible for taking care of stuff from home on your own time, maybe even building a few relationships, getting a few references or referrals. And those things are going to really catapult you and enable you to take on some of those bigger projects, knowing that you have the bandwidth, knowing that you have some references, knowing that you have a little bit of experience. Similarly, you want to choose something that you actually like doing. Here's the thing, with a full-time job, we got to do what we got to do, right? We got to do what we got to do to pay our bills, to feed our families, all of those things that are not so fun to think about. And I get it, not all full-time jobs satisfy all of our needs financially. Sometimes you do need a side hustle to make it nowadays with, inflation and all of that. But in most cases, if you already have a full-time job, at least your basic living expenses are taken care of. So the side hustle should really be fulfilling a next level purpose. It likely isn't there to pay all of your bills, right? It should be more for personal fulfillment or to build a career that's gonna stand the test of time. It's going to be your long-term career, or maybe a little bit of both. So my first full-time, cubicle job was in a marketing department, but it was not very attractive. Like, it was not super fun what I was doing. But the projects that I was taking on, those were things that I absolutely loved doing. I was doing video projects for clients. Again, a lot of those were short-term. So I would go on a shoot for a day or two, edit for a day or two, and then I was done with the project. So I had a quick turnaround, meaning I was getting quick reviews, quick testimonials. But I also just love creating videos. It's something I've always loved doing, and I still love doing and still offer through my business. So choose something you like doing, because otherwise you will start to resent it. And it's really hard to give up your nights, your weekends, your early mornings, your lunch breaks for something that you hate doing and you resent doing. I looked forward to my work. Now, obviously, I had days that weren't fun. I had moments for my side hustles that I didn't love and that really felt like hard work. But 99% of the time, I was like, this is cool. I am getting experience that I'm not getting at my day job, or I'm getting to flex muscles that I haven't flexed in a long time, or I'm getting to try new things, or I'm getting to work with clients I really, really love working with. And so it was easy for me. You know, the influencer event that I hosted in LA back in 2016, my first time out there, I used vacation time to do that. And I know that's not realistic for everybody, but it wasn't difficult for me because it sounded like fun. I was like, I would be attending this event if I wasn't hosting it. So it's no big deal. I'll take a few days off of my day job to do that. My third tip for side hustles is that you don't want to overpromise. You don't want to overextend yourself. Once you've maybe done some short-term tasks, some quick projects to get that experience, and then you've decided what you really want to do, maybe it's video, maybe it's social media management, maybe it's, something else, and okay, now I want to find that long-term client, that client that I can kind of commit to. In most situations, if you've got a full-time job, you're probably going to be committing to one client. That's what I did. When I worked with Octoly, that client, that was really my only client. I would take on like a client or two here or there for like a one-day shoot or a quick consultation. I think by that point I had launched a course, so I was working with some of you, but I wasn't working with people full service, full-time, in addition to my full-time job. That just wasn't realistic. I said, you know what, I can commit to this one client and really do the best that I can do, because here's the thing, you want to get a case study out of it. You want to build your portfolio with it, meaning I don't want to just become like, this factory for freelance jobs and just kind of like move people down the line. I wanted to really be building solid relationships, really doing meaningful, big projects that I could write a case study about, that I could build a portfolio off of. By the way, if you don't know what a case study is, what a portfolio is, what you need to have in either of those things, you should come to my live workshop. It's happening this Friday. I will leave a link for that down in the description box as well. We're going to go over what a social media management or any service provider really portfolio should include, the key elements of it, and how to get the experience that you need to put into your portfolio. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be really fun. It'll be live. There'll be a live Q&A with me at the end as well. So I hope to see you there. It's free, but registration is required. Next tip is to block your calendar. This is the thing that is just, it's hard because we only have 24 hours a day. We all do. We cannot buy more time. We cannot get more time. Like we just have this amount of time, right? And a lot of us have other responsibilities, even other responsibilities in addition to our full-time jobs. So what worked best for me is having certain days of the week. I still do this actually, having certain days of the week that are for certain things. And then within that, having certain times of day that are for certain projects. So for example, when I was working with Octoly, I would say Mondays, and I think I had calls Mondays and Wednesdays. I had calls with their team. Tuesdays and Thursdays I used to work on their projects, and then I would take Friday off because I always liked to, I lived downtown at the time, I liked to just end the work week and, go out to dinner, go do something fun. And then I would usually spend like half of my Sunday doing heads down work for them as well. Within that, so like the Monday and Wednesday calls, I would wake up an hour early and I would meet with the team because they were in France. So I actually lucked out in that situation because their time zones really worked out with mine. If I woke up at like 6, that was like midday their time. So it was perfect. Other clients that were in the US, sometimes I would use my lunch break. So I would, take an hour once a week to have a client call with them or to visit them. I actually had a client, I worked with a modeling agency that was down the street from my full-time job for a little bit. So that was perfect. I would just head over on my lunch break to their office. So, you got to get creative with how you're using your time. But the fact is you have to what worked for me at least is blocking off that time and knowing where I was going to be when, because otherwise it felt like I was just always running behind, or I was always disappointed if I was like, oh shoot, I didn't get that project done on Thursday. Guess I got to use part of my Saturday or Sunday to do it. It felt like this giant disappointment. Whereas if I just automatically blocked off that time and knew every Sunday, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., I'm going to work on Octoly stuff, it didn't feel like a disappointment. It just felt like a routine. And then my last tip is to charge appropriately. A big mistake I made when I was freelancing, when I first started freelancing and first started side hustling, is I would give everybody the full-time job discount, meaning I don't really need this to survive, right? This is all just extra. It's all just portfolio work. So whatever, let's just do it for $20 an hour or whatever for these big strategic projects. Big mistake. Here's the thing. You are doing the same quality, the same level, the same amount of work as anybody else. It doesn't matter if you are doing it at midnight, if you're doing it at 12 p.m., if you're doing it at 6 a.m. If you are still getting the same, quality and level and quantity of work done as you would, if you were full-time in your business, then it should not come with a discount. Your clients don't need to know that you have a full-time job in the sense that, listen, I think it is important to be transparent about your availability, your working hours, things like that, but they don't need to know what your financial situation looks like. It does not make you any less worthy of whatever you're asking financially just because you're doing it at a weird time, assuming that the job, doesn't require you to be online at a certain time or whatever. And I've talked about portfolio projects before. Don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place for them. Sure, I offered my first video that I ever did probably at a lower rate than I would charge to shoot that video today. That was fine. It was a great portfolio builder, great experience. Once you have that 1 or 2 projects in your portfolio, it's time to start charging those full rates. You do not want to get stuck in portfolio project land forever. At a certain point, you've got to just charge your full rates or charge an appropriate rate, let's just say. So I wish that's something that I started doing a little bit sooner. Luckily, my client Octoly, I feel like they paid me really fairly, and I was able to actually save a lot of money by working with them, because what I did is I did not touch that money. Like I said, my full-time job, I wasn't, swimming in money or anything, but I had a decent full-time job that paid my rent, paid, all my bills, things like that, afforded me a nice quality of life. And so all of my money that I made from my side hustle, I just put it in the bank. And the only thing I ever used it for was obviously to pay my business taxes and to buy business equipment. So I would pay for if I had any business travel that they didn't pay for, if I needed a new camera or a new computer. Otherwise, it was all savings. And that is what I used to build up my emergency fund so that I was able to eventually quit my day job and go full time. So those are my best side hustle tips. I really hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions or anything that this sparked for you, I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. And thank you again to Taskverse for sponsoring today's video. You can sign up for them down in the description. And I'll also leave my workshop link, which is happening on Friday, in the description as well. I'd love to see you there. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.